This week I'm going to reflect on my first formal lesson observation by my course tutor. My initial thoughts were worry, trepidation, fear. At the same time, though, I did want to confirm what I am doing is right, and I welcome some guidance. So even if Dawn was going to come in and tell me I was doing it completely wrong, I think that would still have been beneficial for me to change tactics and to make improvements. Well, current research tells us that it's a requirement of the course. There's no getting away from it. You have to be observed. My mentor supported me in my lesson plan, and he gave me advice, feedback and suggestions, which I very much welcomed. This was a lesson 3 out of 5 with a year 8 group. I have seen some of the pupils before, and I know certain ones, but I haven't had much chance to build up a rapport with the pupils. This was only the second time that I'd seen them. They're a pretty wily group. Some characters in there that I was a bit worried about. The strategies that I used were a firm classroom management. What I am trying to establish at the moment in my lessons is firm and fair rules. So the children know where they are with me, and I know where I am with the children. And there's no argument if it goes wrong, and pupils are asked to leave the room, maybe to go to the green room, because I'm following the school behaviour policy. And I think if pupils know that and they know where their boundaries are, yeah, they might try it on for a couple of lessons, but eventually they will learn where the boundaries are, and they're more likely to toe the line and therefore participate in the drama lesson and gain the most from it. What I'm not very good at the moment is I'm not very good at timings. I'm rushing at the end of the lesson with not much time for plenary, and I really want to change this in this lesson. So I had all my timings specifically written down, and I had a stopwatch which I wanted to use to try and help me keep to the activities that I had planned. There was a central character involved in this particular lesson. She wasn't in the last lesson, so I had to track her down on the morning of the visit. The strategy that I used was to make notes for her. I knew she was a strong character, and I do actually know this girl, so I knew she would be okay, and I wasn't picking someone out of thin air that I wasn't sure would be able to cope, or indeed put a weaker pupil under too much pressure. I knew this girl, and I knew she'd be okay, but nevertheless I made notes for her, so that she had a strategy to read from. And did it work? My classroom management did work. I set out the rules, and I said what I expected of them, and I told them what would happen if it went wrong, if they didn't toe the line, if they disobeyed me and didn't follow the classroom rules. A couple of the boys were too chatty. Low-level disruption, and not enough to make a big deal out of, but nevertheless disruption to the lesson. And in order to combat this, I involved them. I asked them questions, and I warned them that in a minute I would be asking them a question, and I hoped that this would encourage them therefore to listen, because they knew I would be asking them a question. And I hope that it would encourage them to be part of the lesson. I did a group still image. It was a bit brave, It did pull off, apart from 3 of these chatty boys who refused to join in the still image. I chose not to pursue this because I felt that the rest of the class, 20 odd kids, had participated in this still image, and they had chosen not to, only 3 of them. So I involved them by making them come and look at the still image and make comments about the still image with me. So I felt they were still participating in the group. I think what I would do next time, I would ask them what they thought, ask them specifically what they think and how they could change things, and the levels and the actions. Whereas I just was kind of asking them a general question: oh, do you think it's okay? What do you think? What do you think of this? So I think I would involve them a lot more. I encouraged the pupils. They were when they were reluctant to answer, and I did have a bit of a panic on at one stage because no one was putting their hand up to answer any of my questions. And the strategy that I had to cope with this was to target a pupil that I knew was quite confident and just not putting their hand up, get them to answer, and then praise them for answering the question. Well done you, well done for that answer, that's a really good answer. And I did notice that that was a really good strategy for the others, putting their hands up, because all of a sudden quite a few pupils put their hands up because I suppose they wanted the praise as well, and they saw the praise that this other boy was getting. The pace of the lesson was too quick, and that is something that I will change next time. I had a huge fear of not fitting everything in, because in the few lessons that I've taught so far, as I've previously mentioned, my timing is poor, and I end up rushing towards the end. And I did have a fear of getting 5 minutes before the end and just babbling and rushing and being observed. So I think I went too quick. I didn't give pupils enough chance to show their work. I think I just let one group show their work, and all the others were like, no, we've got to move on. And I think even if I had to cut something out at the end, or move on a bit quicker at the end with another activity, I should have let pupils show their work, because they've spent 5-10 minutes working on it, and I only let one group show. So I would definitely do that differently next time. Fortunately, the group discussion and the plenary, the pupils really engaged in, which stopped the lesson finishing too early. I challenged the pupils in their thoughts and their ideas. I didn't just accept what they said. I wanted them to think and develop further. The positive from the lesson was that the pupils did understand the lesson. Their thoughts were developed and they did progress. And when we come on to the next lesson, hopefully that will stand them in good stead to have a really great 4th lesson.